So in this section, we're going to talk a bit about another reason why you might be thinking of moving. And this is all about promotion and opportunity. Now, not everybody is looking to step off of the rat race or to bring things down. Actually, a lot of us are still ambitious and still wanting to get that promotion. And if you're in an earlier part of your career, then looking for promotion and opportunity may be a key driver for you. It may be that you feel like you are a bigger fish in a smaller pond. It may feel like it's just dead man's shoes. You're waiting for that key person to leave before you can get an opportunity to move on. So if this is you, then this might be one of your key drivers for making a career change. It's really important to recognize this, because if you are feeling a bit bored or a bit stuck or a bit like it's a dead end role that you're in and you're not being given opportunities, maybe you're feeling like you're overlooked. When you look for your new role, you're going to need to be making sure that you don't get into a similar culture or similar organization or similar size of organization where it's going to repeat itself. So you can really make sure that actually the choices that you make are going to fit that new requirement that you have. So here are some questions that you can consider. Again, do pause the video to give yourself a little bit of time to think about those questions. If you've got a notebook, please do use that. Or if you've got the book, Get the Job You Really Want book, then you can use the space in that section there. So some of the questions: where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years' time? Don't just think about the next job in terms of next year, next month. Think long term. What is your career ambition? Do you want to be a senior manager? Do you want to be an executive? Do you want to be a head of department? Is it all about people management? Do you want to be bigger teams, more senior, or do you want to actually grow depth and breadth of skill? It's not all about going up. It could be about having much more expertise, being a subject matter expert. So what is it for you? What does that look like 3 to 5, maybe even longer time away? And what's the ultimate goal for you? What are you wanting to achieve? Is it about more money? Is it about status? Is it about helping more people? What does that feel like for you? And just take some time and think of that answer. What would the role look like? Do you have an image in your mind of what it is that you are looking for in a role in that 3 to 5 years' time? What sort of company might it be in? Are you looking for a big role in a multinational, global organization where you can travel the world? Or are you looking to be MD of a much smaller, more local firm? Or maybe a family firm as well, if you've got those connections. Think about what skills you might need to gather along the way. And if you're in an early part of your career, then actually thinking about, well, I know I want to be here in 5, maybe 10 years' time. To do that, I will need to have this qualification, this particular skill. You might be thinking about leadership skills, people management skills. It could be about particular technology, or it could be about projects, change management. It doesn't all have to be about qualification, although sometimes qualification might be essential. So you can be thinking, well, do I need these things to get there? But it also can be about the experiential skills that you've built up along the way. So what would you need to get there and gather along the way? Because if you're starting out in your career, but you know that you want to be an MD or a senior leader, you're not going to jump from one to the other. But if you know that the next job needs to be a team leader or a supervisor, or you need to have certain other things that you're going to have to build on, project management skills, financial acumen, commerciality, it can help you lead into what other roles could you take that would start to show some of those building blocks that you need to move on. Then you can start to think, well, where would be a good place to start? What sort of organization is going to give you the opportunity to learn some of those things? And so here, the culture of the organization is going to be really essential to look at. If you go for something that's a bit more traditional, or where there isn't potentially a learning program, or a culture of being able to develop people on the up, then you might find you've got a job. That's great, but they're still expecting you to do that job in 2 years' time because they just need a bum on a seat, and that's what they want. So you want to be looking at the culture in terms of where would be a good place to start in terms of the company, but also what skills would you think are the most important ones to learn first, that would be the building blocks or the foundations to get you to the next layer and the next layer. Now, sometimes we talk about getting the job we really want, and we think immediately that we've got to go and leave somewhere else. And if you are in a role, a company that's very small, then you may have to be doing that. But there might be opportunities to think about what else could you be doing in the organization that you're currently in that would help you to expand. Now, if you're being overlooked, or you've been told that there's really no opportunity, then that might not be an option. But if you're in a bigger organization and there is an opportunity to look at sideways moves, or different skills that you could be learning along the way, or you could volunteer for potentially taking on a different job, then think about those different things that you could do. Is it worth having a conversation with your manager or your HR department or your learning department, looking at any internal intranet sites that would tell you there are other things that you could be doing? Maybe look at internal job applications as well. So sometimes we don't always need to jump ship to start learning some of those skills, adding them to our CVs in the place that we are already at. So thinking about that, let me just stop sharing there, sorry. Have a think about that, make any notes in your book, and join me for the next section where we'll talk about some other reasons.